All right, guys, Christmas is officially over, which means for all you truck guys out there, it's time to start installing all of that cool new stuff you got from Santa Claus this year. I got a ton of stuff from Auxbeam to deck out the Tacoma this year. A whole new lineup of lights. So I'm gonna be ditching the light bar we installed on the roof a few years ago. I'm gonna be ditching the ditch lights that we got on here and switching to their new lineup. I've always been a fan of the old school round lights. The old school trucks had the round lights across the top of the bar. I'm switching to their round lights. We're gonna do 8 of these all the way across the top of my truck, and I'm gonna pair those with their new R4 pod lights for my ditch lights on here. I think it'll look nice. It's got the round bulb in them, and it'll pair well with the round lights on the roof. And we're gonna control everything from their new RGB switch panel. So I've got a lot of installation to do in this video today. First, I wanna walk you through the lights, all their different functions, because these are kind of more than just an on and off light nowadays. They do all kind of stuff. So let me show you what we got and then get into the install. So like I mentioned, the roof lights are gonna be these new 5-inch V Ultra series lights. You can actually get these lights in a white or an amber light. And what's really cool about these is they have 3 different modes built in. You've got your lights where you can just run your fog light or your floodlight on the top of your truck, or you can pair it with these little amber bars that come up and down, or if you want to, you can just run the amber bars as a daytime running light. That looks really good. They come with these really cool covers that clip right on. This one's got the cover clipped on here, and they look really good on there. The cover clips tight on there, so you don't have to worry about it coming off. During the day, when you just want to run around, you don't want your lights, to show, you can pop these covers on. I think that's going to be a nice touch. What I've always really liked about Auxbeam's lights is their connection points. They have these really nice waterproof and dustproof connection points. They clip together, they lock in place, and they never get anything in them. I've never had any issues at all with these connection points from Auxbeam. We're gonna pair all of our lights with this new RGB controller. And this is a big one. They've actually come out with one that's a little bit bigger than the other ones that I have. You can tell by the button stickers, that's how big the buttons are gonna be. They got this really nice fuse panel system that everything is color coded. It ties right together. All of the wires you need to hook this up. And here's the switch panel itself. Look how big the switch panel is. And we're gonna be able to tie this switch panel, not just to the lights we're installing today, but to all of the other lights, the extra lights we've got on the side, all of the extra stuff that we have on this truck already. I'm gonna be able to link right to this RGB controller, and this should light up in different colors now, so we can kind of program it how we want it. But everything will be operated right through this new controller. The ditch lights we're going with are these new R4s. See how thin these are? I like these because they're a little bit more low profile. Even though they're not a round light, they still have that round bulb look, and I think it's gonna look good once we get the round lights on the top. It should pair really good, and they're really low profile. I've been running Auxbeam lights for quite some time now. As a matter of fact, I've got my overland rack off the truck so I could fit my truck in here. And if you look, I've actually been running one of their old 8-panel switches back here for my setup. And here is the actual fuse panel of this. I keep it in a box on the side of my rack, but there's the old switch panel. They come with a nice fuse. I've been running this for years. You don't have to worry about water getting in them, dust getting in them. They just stay connected and they just work. So let's climb up here, get off all this old stuff, and start installing these cool new round lights. All right, so the first thing we're gonna have to do is verify what I'm doing is even gonna work. And what I mean is I wanna run 8 pod lights across here, or 8 of the 5-inch round lights, and I'm really hoping that I can make 8 fit. What is really cool about the Auxbeam lights and the wire harnesses is you can choose your wire harness to the amount of lights that you have, and I think these can go up to 8 lights. But if I can't get 8 lights to fit, I can always go with their 6 light harness, and all that means is you don't have a bunch of wires running from each light going down to the hood. I can set this up with 8 or 6 or even 4 and only have 1 wire going all the way down. So all of these lights will actually pigtail to each other off of 1 harness. But first I gotta make sure that it's gonna work. I really wanna get 8 across here. If I've gotta modify my rack just a little bit to make it work, I'll do it. I really want it to fit. So first let me get off this old light bar. I actually installed this light bar with you guys years ago on the channel. It was one of the first mods that we did to this truck. I think these were actually the first mod, and then we did the light bar up here. So it's time for an upgrade. These are kind of faded and worn out, and I'm ready to see how these round lights. I really hope, fingers crossed, we get all 8 to fit. Let me start taking this off. All right, I got the old light bar off. Now I'm gonna try to mock up the mounting brackets for these 5-inch lights. Now, what's really cool about these V Ultra series lights is they've got a ton of mounting locations on here. So you can mount these lights kind of any way that you want. And they've got a really nice, thick, powder-coated bracket. And there's also different mounting options on the bracket. So once we get it installed, we can kind of manipulate them and kind of get them all to tie, you know, kind of the way we want it. But I first got to figure out how I want to do this. If I want to come off of this bar here and then kind of have them angled like this, if that'll work, which I'm thinking that's going to be the route to go. And what I can do is I can get all these brackets, go ahead and get them mounted to this rail and get them up there and then see if our panel is gonna fit back on here. My only concern is that panel has a cutout for a light bar from Printsu when I ordered it, and I may have to modify it just a little bit to work with these round lights, but we'll get it done. Let's pull this rail out. I've got to clean it anyway. I didn't realize how much stuff has gotten behind there. So I'm gonna pull this rail out really quick, clean it up, and then I'm gonna try to get all of these mounted to it, and then I'll catch back up with you guys when we put the bar back on the roof and see if we can start angling the lights to get everything to work. But that's gonna look good. I really hope I can get all 8 lights to fit up here. I think I'll be able to. All right, so here's where we're at. I've got the bar, the one you just watched me pull out of my Printsu rack. I got it cleaned up. I actually had to put all the little T-track bolts that was holding on this plate that y'all see me pull off up there. All of them were rusted up. Look at that water. I got some lime away in here. I've just been shaking it, trying to get all that rust off those bolts. I think it's working though. I'll clean these off in just a minute, but I've got to have those because those are the ones that slide down in these T-tracks to hold this front plate on. And after I took it apart, I just seen how rusted over everything was. So hopefully that cleans up. I think they will. But I've got the bar kind of mocked up with all 8 of the mounts. And I got to mock it up on the roof really quick to make sure it's even going to work, because this is actually at a steep angle right here. It goes pretty far over, and I got to make sure that with this up here that we can angle the lights far enough to get them flush or, you know, even the way they're supposed to be aimed, because if not, I'll have to figure out a different way to mount these. All right, guys, they are mounted. Look at that. I got all 8 to fit. Man, that looks good. I did go ahead and mount my ditch lights, those little R4 pod lights. I already had these hood brackets here on my truck whenever we first installed ditch lights on my truck. So all I had to do was put the bolt in right there in the nut. It's super easy. You didn't miss nothing on that. The wires are just tucked under the hood right now because I'm gonna go over all the wiring with you in just a minute. I did wanna show you how I ended up mounting everything. As you can tell, I did have to do a little bit of modifying to my Printsu bracket. Now, this is not something that you're gonna have to do. I did it because I mentioned earlier this had the cutout for the light bar, and I thought it would kind of be in the way, so I cut off the little lip on each end where the light bar used to sit down into this, and it shortened it up a little bit, but I think it looks good. Look at that. And those covers look really good on there. I can pop them on and off. I already had that one loose, so I could show you, and then they just pop on and off. Just like that. Man, that looks good. All of the lights are just kind of, all of the wires are just kind of zip tied behind the lights right now. They're solid as a rock. I measured everything and tried to get it, excuse me, as extremely precise as possible. I think I did a good job. I'm real picky when it comes to stuff like that, so it took me a while to get them just right. Man, that looks good. All right, now for the wiring part of this install. So, full disclosure, it's been probably a week since I got these mounted. I don't know if you can tell from my voice. I got the flu right in the middle of shooting this video. Super sick. I'm getting over it now, but my voice hasn't come all the way back yet. But I want to go over the wiring portion of this install kind of outside of the truck with you guys, because it's easier for me to show you kind of out here than it is under the hood or up under the dash of the truck. And you'll be able to kind of get the gist of it, especially those of you who are looking to do something like this. If you're wanting to install some lights on your truck, which I highly recommend these Auxbeam lights. If you're going to do it, go this route. You won't regret it, I promise. Their switches are good. And I kind of want to show you everything that you need when you're doing something like this. You don't have to do what I'm going to be doing with the switch panel that we're installing, all of that. You can just order you a set of lights and add to them as they go. You know, you don't have to go all out and do it all at once. You can install a couple of lights. They come with their own harness, their own switch. You don't have to get the big harness right off the gate. And as you build your lights up, then you can switch to the 6 light harness or the 8 light harness or whatever, and everything's just plug and play. So then you can just plug it up, or if you want to go with a switch panel later on, you can just use the switch that comes with the lights. These lights actually come with their own harness. This is a 2 light harness. When you order the lights, you'll get 2 lights and the harness with the built-in switch. It's just a regular on and off switch. It'll go through all the modes on the lights, that little amber bars, the full floodlights, or both of them at the same time, and everything's controllable right here with this. Or if you go the route that I'm going, you get your switch panel and you go ahead and get your harness. Now, the harness I do want to show you guys really quick. I love the harness, and this is why. It's a 2-piece harness. So as you can see, I've got 8 plugs right here with a female end on the end of it. So this is gonna go across the top behind my lights up there. It's gonna plug into every one of them. I'm gonna start at the end, plug the lights all the way down here to the end, and then at the very end, all I've got left is this female plug right here. And then here's the other end of the wire harness. And again, if you didn't want to go with a switch panel, this even comes with its own switch. But we're not gonna use this, we're gonna unplug it, you know, and go with the switch panel at the end. And everything's plug and play, so you don't have to do any wire splicing or anything like that. I'm just gonna unplug that switch. I'll do it right now and show you right there. The switch is off. So now this will plug to our switch panel and then we're good to go. But here's the actual wire, harness part of the wire, I guess, that runs down to the hood. It's got the built-in relays right here. You don't have to add anything, and it's literally red and black wire. This goes to your battery. You mount this to your cab, up under your hood somewhere with your relays, and then this runs up to your lights, and that's it. It's really easy to do this stuff. So if you see this and you've never done it before and it looks too complicated, it's not too complicated, I promise. Now, during this week while I've been sick, I kind of had an epiphany. When I got out here, you know, I tried to make myself feel better, and I come out here to the garage, and I started messing around trying to go ahead and get the switch panel kind of installed for you guys. And halfway through it, I realized that this switch panel, I would rather use this switch panel on the camping setup that we've got going on here on the channel. So I contacted Auxbeam and was like, I kind of want to go with a smaller one for my truck, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch from this bigger one here, and I want to show it to you real quick. I think I showed you at the beginning of the video. And what I mean is, this is the bigger one. Where's my other one? I've got both. This is my old one right here. So this is a 8-panel or a 8-button switch panel. And then this is the one we just ordered. See the size difference? This is great. And I really did want to use this in the truck, but after getting in the cab and trying to figure out the best place for it, I just realized it's kind of too big for what I want. I've already got so much going on in my dash that I didn't want to go this route, but I am going to keep this, and we're going to do an install on my camping setup. So stay tuned. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because I'm going to show you how you can use one of these controller kits on your camping setup on the back of your truck, and you can use this to run all of your camping lights, all of your outlets, your water, you know, if you've got water back there with a pump like I'm putting in Trailer Swift, all of this will be able to go to something and control it, excuse me, and we'll be able to install it like that. In my truck, I'm gonna go with the same style. I'm waiting on it. It should be here today. We're gonna install it in this video, I promise. But I'm waiting on it to get here. I'm gonna install the same RGB style, the same new upgrade of this one, but it's gonna be this size. So I can actually flush mount this in my dash. It's gonna look really clean in there. And 8 buttons is really the most I'm gonna need inside the cab of my truck. This 12 is gonna come in handy for the camping setup because we'll be able to kind of dedicate these buttons to all kind of different stuff. The left light, the right light, the front light, all the lights we need. We don't have to put just lights, you know, we can kind of control each one. But I think that's gonna be pretty cool. But in the meantime, while I'm waiting on the new one of these to get here, I wanna run you guys through this really quick on how it's wired up. Like I said, I won't be able to show you once it's in the truck. This is just for those of you who have never done something like this. Feel free, if you've done this before, feel free to skip ahead, or you can just watch it and see how I do things with these aux beams. I have installed a few of these aux beam setups with these control panels. This is the new upgraded, let's see if I can show you a little bit closer. See that? That is their new fuse panel. These things are awesome. They have built-in LED lights that tell you when your fuse is bad. Everything is plug and play. So you'll get one of these fuse blocks. I'll cough, hold on. Excuse me. You'll get one of these fuse panels, nice aluminum frame, and they come with their own mounting location, so you can mount this wherever you want. I'll show you at the end of the video how I end up mounting this under the hood where it's nice and clean and all the wires are hidden. But you get your nice fuse panel there. This one comes with a 20-foot cable. So the only cable that you're gonna run from the hood of your vehicle into the cab of your vehicle is this guy right here. That's what makes these switch panels really cool. You don't have to run each individual light. So if you've got you know, your light bar or your pods across the top and you got your ditch lights, and then I've got my camping lights off the side, I've got lights off the back. You don't have to run all of those wires all the way up to the switch panel. Those wires go to this, which is gonna be under your hood, and then this one single wire plugs into this fuse panel, and then all you've got coming through to your cab is this guy right here. This is what plugs to your switch panel on the inside, and it controls everything right here. And this, like I mentioned, it'll tell you if your fuse goes bad. Everything is fused in there, and when you wire this up, it's more than 2 wires, it's 3 wires. When you wire it up, you got your red and black wires which go to your battery, you got your ground and your hot, and then you're gonna have one more red wire it comes in the kit. I know I'm talking a lot, I'm trying to get through this to show you guys, but you got one more wire. This wire has a plug on the end. It plugs right into the side of the box. This wire, all you do is tap into an ACC fuse that's under your hood. And if you don't know what that is, it even comes with the fuse adapter kit. So everything, like I mentioned, is plug and play on this. But what that is so that when you turn your truck off, your switch panel doesn't stay lit up and run your battery dead. But when you get in and you turn your truck on, just like everything else in your truck, then your switch panel will wake up, all of your lights will be ready to go, and you'll be able to operate them just like that. That's all this wire is for. If you didn't want to do that, if you wanted to be able to operate your wires in the switch panel when the truck is off, which I really don't recommend because if you leave it on, it will run your battery dead, but you could just not run this and go that route. Don't do that though, just find an ACC fuse, hook it up, and then plug your your fuse panel up to it. That way when you hop in your truck, you turn your truck on, everything lights up, your switch panel lights up, and it looks good. It's nice, clean, factory looking install. And other than that, guys, it comes with the fuse panel, the switch button, and you get your breaker switch with a waterproof cover over it. All this does is it goes in line. When you got your wires, you're gonna have 2 red wires. You're gonna have a short one and a longer one. And all that is because this is gonna be kind of a break in between your hot wire. Your battery is gonna run through one of these to one side of this, and then from the other side, from the red wire, straight to your fuse panel. So if anything was to go wrong, if you was to swamp your truck or something like that, and it trips this before it damages anything in your vehicle or your battery. So if anything happened, you got this 100 amp, I think it's 100 amp, yeah, 100 amp breaker switch. It'll pop before anything else pops. It'll save your lights and it'll save you some money. So it's really cool that it comes with this. There's a lot of aftermarket lights kind of like this on the market that they don't come with this. Like, you have to add this separately, and a lot of companies don't even mention adding one of these. And if you go that route and you wire those lights up and something happens, you get a short in your light or you pinch a wire, it could fry your battery and mess some stuff up. This will save you. So it's really cool that they put this with it. And let's see, what else? I think that's gonna be it. I know I'm talking a lot right at this portion of the video, but this is mainly for those of you who might be interested in installing something like this. It also comes with a ton of button stickers. All of these are for, once you get everything wired up how you want it, say this button right here is gonna be your light bar across the top of your roof. Then you just find the one that says light bar and you stick it over there, and that's what you got. And you can actually get on their website and order a whole pack. They've got all kinds of different styles and designs, and you can get them and change your stickers out whenever. If you decide you're gonna run a button to something else or you change it later on, you can just switch the button sticker without having to reprogram anything, which is really cool. And you get a big Auxbeam sticker, and you get a colorful installation guide, and it tells you basically every single thing that I just told you, just probably in better detail. All right, so that's it. I am gonna get everything installed now. Obviously, it's not gonna be this 12. We're gonna save this 12 because we're gonna be doing the camper setup very soon. This is gonna be really cool. I can't wait to do this because I am gonna be adding a water system to this soon to our kind of our overland setup, and it's gonna be cool to have a button that kind of dedicated to the water pump. So we're gonna be installing this. Y'all stay tuned for that. For now, the other one should be here in a bit. I'm gonna get it installed, get everything wired up, and then I'm gonna catch up with y'all to show you how it turns out. And hopefully it's supposed to snow tomorrow, first snow in Alabama for a long time. And if so, we're gonna go out and get some footage of me testing this truck out with the lights on in the snow at night. I think it'd be pretty cool. All right, guys, good news and kind of not so good news. The good news is I got the switch panel in, I've got it installed, I've got the fuse panel installed, everything's good to go. The bad news is it's like 2 weeks later. The snowstorm that I was telling you we were gonna get hit by in the south actually just hit us, and everything I had ordered got delayed, including that switch panel, but it showed up today. I just finalized the installation of this thing. I've got the, as you can see right here, I'm gonna show you in just a minute. I just finished installing the fuse panel and kind of downloading the app and going through it and programming everything, because this switch panel that they just come out with, you can actually control with an app on your phone outside of your truck, which is kind of cool. But let me show you how I got it mounted in the cab and under the hood, and then we'll go outside, turn the lights on, and let you check them out. I hope it's not too loud in here. I do have a heater going in the background, but it is freaking cold outside. When I went to work this morning, it was 11 degrees outside, so it's cold for us here in Alabama. But as you can see, I have got a ton of boxes to burn. All the lights are now installed on the truck, and man, did they turn out good. Also, just a side note for you guys, if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe, because if you remember earlier in this video, I talked about installing this bad boy. This is that new 12 button that I showed you earlier on my new rack. Well, I just finished filming that video. So this is a brand new tent, a brand new 270 awning, and I added some really cool lights and installed that new RGB 12 button controller in that video. So that video is actually gonna come out next Monday after this one. So I didn't waste any time since I had to wait on the mail for this new button panel to come in for the cab of the truck. So here's how I set it up under the hood though. You see I got the fuse panel here. I'm actually only using 4 of the buttons right now. The other 5, 6, 7, and 8, I don't have anything wired up yet. I've got plans for them. I just don't have the lights here to install yet, but I got it mounted right here on top of my fuse panel. I tried to be as neat as I could with the wires, but there's really a lot of wires to manage right there, so that's kind of the best I could do. Everything's kind of labeled and zip tied though, and I've got the inline breaker going. But inside here is the new switch panel. Check this guy out. So for now, I've got it mounted just in the truck. I didn't drill any holes. I actually used one of my button holes. I took the button out and put a bolt through it with a big washer on the back, but I got it locked into place really good. And if you turn the truck on, let me see if I can do this. We'll just turn the ACC on really quick. As you can see, it lights up, and you can actually change the colors of this. Let me open the app up and show you really quick. So you download the app. The app is gonna look like this here. You open up the app, and as you can see, see if I can show you. See how I got it labeled on there? It looks exactly how I got it labeled in the truck. You can actually set it up exactly how you want it. If I turn the phone sideways, it actually turns it sideways. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually operating my DRLs, my hood lights, even my side camping lights from the phone. How cool is that? That's really cool. But so if you turn it this way though, it's actually got this RGB controller. So I can actually change the color of the background. I can go green, yellow, red, any color you want. And I try to keep it close to the actual factory colors of my truck. Let's see, those are it's pretty close. I like to kind of keep it all matching, but if I want to change it, I can just swipe my finger in here and change them any color I want. Let's get close to that color there. Anyway, I thought this app was pretty cool because from outside the vehicle, we can operate it. As a matter of fact, oh hush, I'll show you how you can control them from out here. So I've got my roof lights. Boom, golly, those are bright. We're gonna go outside in just a minute and I'll show them to you outside. But if you wanna just run the DRLs, check out those daytime running lights. Just little amber bars on each light. Those look really good. I can actually run them together if I wanted to, which I don't think on the camera you'll be able to see them both. But I can turn them off. I've got my hood lights, those little R4 pods. Those things are super bright. And I've also got wired in my rack lights on my Prinsu here. And these are kind of my camping lights. I've got them in the handles on my rack. I'll show you these over here too. But I do think it is very cool that I can operate all of this from my phone. And I've got some other buttons labeled in there, but I'm kind of trying to toy around and figure out what I want to add next. And I'll show you kind of the first two I'm going to do. I am going to do some trace lights on the back of my rig, some amber trace lights so when we are overlanding in a group or trail riding and it's dusty, I'll be able to just kick these on so I can be spotted from the back. And I'm going to be installing some rock lights. That leaves me with 2 blank buttons. And I've got some ideas floating around that I'm going to wire to these, but no definite plans yet. So I've got them just covered up blank for now, but it's a nice clean install. I did get on Etsy and order me, there's a couple of guys on Etsy that sell a 3D printed version of this Toyota Tacoma piece where this actually flush mounts into it, and I ordered me one yesterday. So I'll probably be changing that up a little bit, but it's gonna be nice and clean and look factory in there. I think it's pretty cool. Let me get this hood shut and squeeze this truck out of the garage. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I barely fit. I mean, when I say barely fit, I pick the door up with the tent when I go out. Let's see if you guys can see. Look at the tent on top of the truck. The camera's trying to track me right now, so it's hard to, let's see if I can do it like that. Look at that. That is close right there. But let me get the hood shut up. I'm gonna squeeze the truck out. We got about 30 more minutes until the sun completely sets. And I wanna show you how these look outside, not necessarily in the dark. I don't wanna end the video in the dark, but I do wanna show you how good they look on the truck outside. So let's go outside. All right, I think I'm just gonna leave the truck running so y'all get to see how this looks. I waited till it got a little bit darker out here so you could see the lights a little bit better. I absolutely love those amber lights and those round lights up top, those daytime running lights. They tie in really good with this whole setup I got. Let me know what you think about the round lights versus the light bar that we took off this truck. I like the round lights better. I think they help hide my boxes on the top rack. And I feel like it gives this Tacoma a more beefy look. It makes it look a little bit beefier up top. It's not as, thin lined and whatever up top. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget, anything you've seen today in today's video, I'll have links and discount codes for in the video description. So if you decide you want to buy some ditch lights or anything, a switch panel, that promo code will work all through their Auxbeam website. So check them out, links below. If you're new here, I upload content every Monday at 6 p.m., just like clockwork, so hit subscribe. Next week, the video on my brand new camping setup, the whole overland rack, the 12-button Auxbeam panel install. All of that is next week's video, so stay tuned for it. I'm gonna get back inside. It is absolutely freezing out here, guys, so stay tuned for next week's video. Hit subscribe, and I will catch you next Monday at 6 o'clock. Peace. Man, I love that.